There are some names that come to mind, but I'm not going to say any of them because I'm afraid that would invite comparisons. Either I would come out on the wrong end of that comparison, or just because I enjoy someone's work doesn't mean I'm trying to write the same sort of thing, and I wouldn't want to raise incorrect expectations. I think I've answered this question before. Well, it's a good thing it's come up again, because I have a different answer. In They See a Family, there's a character named Michael, a very minor character, who is mentally disabled. I thought the safest way to avoid accidentally veering into stereotypes as I wrote him would be to have a particular person in mind. I was definitely thinking of my uncle as I wrote him. Michael is still a fictional character, though he is not intended to be my uncle. It was more like, how do I think he would act in this situation, not what has my uncle done in the past that I could put into a book. First, I just want to say I think it's too bad that preachy has become kind of negative, and I know that I have been guilty of using it to describe other books in a negative way. But preachy isn't always a bad thing. I think, like a lot of things, there's a time and a place, and with fiction, it can work. It has to fit into the story. I've read a lot of books where it felt like the author was kind of taking a break from the story in order to start evangelizing, and that is a turnoff even, for myself as a Christian. As far as how preachy my books are, I think the level of preachiness varies in my books. I am, first and foremost, telling a story, but all of my main characters are Christian. Sometimes they mention saying a prayer, or they mention going to church. But I think in most of my books, the characters don't really sit down and have deep, meaningful discussions about their faith. Oh, that would be really hard. I think I would have to go back and read all of my books with like a preachiness journal and rank them, and I've never done that. Said and Unsaid is the only book where my main character was a convert, and it's just been my personal experience that converts tend to be a little more excited. Since the faith is new, they want to talk about it a little bit more. I don't remember exactly how detailed any of those discussions were. I hope it was more about her experience, and never sounded like she was trying to convince the reader of anything. I don't remember a lot of preaching in Collecting Zebras. I feel like that was one of my more lighthearted ones. I don't think there were any big catalysts for discussion in that book that I can remember. There may have been a little preachiness in A Perfectly Good Man. The main character in that one had a bit of not really a crisis exactly, but at one point she did kind of realize that she had become rather lukewarm in her faith, and so there was a little discussion. Oh boy. Repeatedly. Have I talked about being bad at covers too much? Humble and funny. Now that is a positive spin on a lack of artistic ability. I guess I'd like to say, though, that I have not been complaining and doing nothing. I've tried to make up for some of what I lack in natural talent by reading, and, there are some things you can learn about design, so hopefully I have made some improvements over the years. Unfortunately, the process is still largely trial and error. I can look at a cover and see that it's not working. I see that it's maybe unbalanced, maybe the colors are wrong. I know it's bad, and I don't know how to fix it. So I usually end up just making lots of covers until something. Trial and error is kind of a frustrating way to do anything. Sometimes just typing my books can be frustrating because I can't read my own handwriting. I write everything out first, and my handwriting has not gotten better. You would think with context I could figure out all the words. That's not always the case. Well, I'll talk about one. This was an experiment. I prefer contemporary romance, both to read and to write, but historical romances seem very popular. Particularly, there seems to be something about mail-order bride stories that people enjoy. I wrote a 4-novella series using the name Charlotte Thorpe. My goal for those stories was to try to capture some of the things that people enjoy about mail-order bride stories without actually having a mail-order bride in any of them. Those books have been some of my most popular works, and that is interesting. when you're outsold by your own alter ego. Is that success? I don't know. I guess my final word would just be thank you. If anyone has read any of my books, thank you.